Oi, I have ugly situation here. I am still renovating my house. It's already ready, but because I don't have Astrid, so no meaning to be hurry, and even I'm thinking to take my boat and go somewhere, or I don't know. I have no life until November. Astrid is my life, which also means that I have kind of parallel life, which is wonderful. Good weather, check. I haven't been out yet. I have boat waiting me, my darling. The name was Fascination, but now it's Princess Astrid Marie. My darling. My only darling. Well, emotions of father. Why I am doing this, why I am filming this video is honor to my good teacher, Wanngård, a high professional journalist of Swedish television, who gave up all that established media and became one of the founders of public journalism in Sweden. A wonderful person. Pay attention to him. He had reports since... Great man, great journalist. And you know why? And these reports, among everything else, political declarations and reports to police, security police, and everything else, United Nations and any fellow human being, except all that, need to be considered as reports of a public journalist. Vad vet jag? So you know who you are to be a journalist. Intelligence agents are journalists who come and kidnap my kids with licenses. I mean, it's enough to have journalists clubs card printed in an office somewhere in the airport. So Putin can send someone here to kidnap your kids. And you know what the difference between me and ethnic so-called Swedish kid? That if a kid like that would have been taken out, you should have been the Navy, the Army, and everything else. But not for my Astrid. No, intentionally, not accidentally, but intentionally born Swedish Astrid, my daughter, Swedish daughter, whom I didn't want it to speak Armenian. I wanted her first to handle Swedish, and with all my difficulties, I speak only Swedish with my kid, in Sweden, with a citizen of Sweden, with a subject of Sweden, but now some strange Swedes who want to throw out, in all other cases, immigrants. Now they think that for some strange reasons my daughter should be taken from me, from an Armenian writer. Because mother thinks that she needs to learn Armenian, that fucking racist language, which is, no language anymore, because the people who carry it are racists. And it's racism only what they talk. My daughter coming among them, and the next thing she speaks with me, an ugly Armenian, which I hate. It's my mother tongue, and I'm sorry that my mother was a professor of ethics, aesthetics, philosophy. My father was a chief journalist. This is also a little bit information why I can be a public journalist. And I don't want my daughter to speak that ugly language. I want my daughter to speak as my sons do, a raffinated, a prayer Armenian, which I and only few Armenians can bear in themselves. And now she's taken away from me. Yeah. Okay. So public journalism, in honor to Busse, my darling, my darling. The meeting with you was a wonder. The meeting with you and why you need to go out to immigrants, especially desperate immigrants. What Boo did all these years, and as a public journalist, talk with you. You humiliated him, he continued. And that is why he left the established media and came to public journalism, and that's the point and the meaning of public journalism. When an honest journalist doesn't find a way out for a very important information through establishment, through unions, through vacations, through conformism, through blah 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 blah, then that person loves its own community so much, and he or she cares for that community so much, than going against an entire establishment which is conspired to keep silence and talk truth. And those public journalists are great men and good example. And why this is important also, because if someone from you encouraged with these great people, teachers, Swedish teachers, guys, Swedish teachers, and I had Americans too, and now they people to these extremists, these fundamentalists, these motherfuckers. I was feminist in 20 years and member of two biggest feminist organizations, and I worked for an entire network of feminist organizations implementing computers for them and the network, and ask them, my sisters, how friendly we were and how friendly we still. They even nominated me to Swedish parliament. Freaks. I can be dangerous for women, or yeah, now I can be. Now all masculine in me is woke. You do everything to woke up my masculine hormones, which are there because they are there. I am a man. Yes, I am a man. I have respect for women, and that's not coming from Swedish fucking feminism. I have respect for my mother, for my sister, first of all. That was my feminism is coming from. That is what feminism is about for me, and then wife and daughter. Idiots. Because I look like this. Jesus had this face. Look at me. Jesus was exactly like me. Muhammad was exactly like me. Einstein was exactly like me. Not an idiot, blonde, with a stomach from beer in front of a television, brainwashed motherfucker. The store of my telephone was full. I was forced to transfer the data to computer to make place to record further. So during the time I changed shirt and so on. So this is direct after. And yeah, public journalism, and you are free, you know, not only in public journalism, but any personal way of expression and artistism. And sometimes it's not why they tell I'm crazy, because sometimes I am trying to shake people, because when you come and do it as a proper Swede, then as a proper Swede, you just fuck off from there and you never hear anything from there. And this is not only a discrimination case in this country, which is, but I will bring a lot of fellow Swedes who think and were brainwashed in generations to think that they themselves, because they belong to a stam of primates particular, are not subjects of discrimination, but that's not the case, and they are also discriminated in very different ways. I'm going to become very soon an honorable professor in many universities, I promise, and I'm going to read lectures, all PhDs and so on, collect your papers and pens and come to listen what I'm going to tell you. An honorable professor, not a motherfuckers like you. So prepare yourself. And yeah, public journalism. So they think that I am a blackhead who doesn't know how to go properly, all that institutional ways and so on, and haven't gone already and several times to have proved, not with a stupid idea that he will find something. No, no. And why blackhead? I will come back. I will come 10 years back. This is work I am doing. That's why I look like a crazy, because when you do a real business in this country, the first thing they need do to make you to look like crazy. I have seen two blackheads, Afro-American brothers. Blackhead means nigger, which I am, so never take it as a humiliation. In furthermore, I may use the ugly word, which is very lovely to me when I tell nigger to myself. I love it because I was saved by you in United States. And Muslim brothers, Afro-American Muslim brothers who saved me from Christian brothers, Armenians. So there were no a guy like this to sit and talk about public journalism in honor. This part, honestly, in honor a great man, Wanngård, whom I ask and beg to involve. Darling, last time the greatest thing you do was the Christer Pettersson. Everybody will forget Christer Pettersson, who will come here with all your talents and genius. Please. Or if you're tired, just forget. Sit back, enjoy, look what I do with the knowledge you gave to me, darling. In honor of you. So we go forward. Afro-American brothers, I am a nigger. And any black hat in this country is a nigger. And everybody is scared to tell. But I was proud to be a nigger from the first moment of coming to this country, and nothing cumulative to all those who think that nigger is bad. No, it's perfect. You don't know how perfect it is. You don't know how pure it is. You don't know how brilliant it is in memory and respect to the greatest teacher of mine from that legacy, Afro-American Malcolm X. With all respect, love to that legacy, and I am a student, and every other, please pay attention to one of greatest teachers I had. Public journalism will go forward. So if sorry, I was interrupted, and I just continued the recording. The public journalism, and I'm sorry, this is my page, you know. So if someone looked until now, so I mean, it's your fault. You shouldn't have if you don't like it. Well, I sit and speak crazy guy a lot. Public journalism, darlings. So this is how public journalism. This is a classical way of doing public journalism. It's crazy. It's always crazy. It's never like establishment. It shall not be like establishment. Even if you do it on a high professional level, as established ones do, and I can do that too, and I will explain why a bit later, after I will tell the necessity in Sweden of public journalism, because established media sucks, and in many, many years, and even those public journalists who become heroes in this country, Guillaume, blah, 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 they were good guys, they were honored, but now they are established motherfuckers too. So this is how it happens now. A black hat like me need to come, something new, very strange, to remind that there is public journalism, motherfuckers, in this country. If you humans find nothing to find back, there is public journalism, and they can be a very good ones, very professional ones that you can't fuck with. And one of those was Wanngård. That's why my honor again to him, and I want he to pay attention what I do now and how I do now. So this is it about, and why I know it and can do it professionally too, motherfuckers, Armenian journalists, Georgia and Azeri all over the world and so on. Now listen to this. Where I was born, my father, a professional TV journalist, in 500 years since the establishment of Armenian TV station. He was 1,000 years old already when I was born. And I was born exactly in that TV station. You can't imagine. It is beyond your imagination because there are no such TV stations now in the world, maybe except North Korea. So there were thousands of employees in those TV stations, and they were done to brainwash people like in Korea and so on. And my father, a TV journalist in 70s, when I was a kid, and already was born in television, suddenly came with brilliant idea that democracy after all can be possible. And to make it possible, a market economy need to come, and I was a little kid when those brilliant-minded young students, blah blah blah, which were my father was, and then journalist, and a lot of dickheads, my father among them, lot of guys discussing how they need to do the change and blah and blah, and they came to the idea that they need to establish a studio which need to produce the first in Soviet Union TV advertisement. The first one in the Soviet Union. There was no one single one. And they were going back and forward to Kremlin to make them understand in 3 or 4 years how important it is for the economy of the country. And after 4 years, it was allowed as an experiment, far away from Moscow, far away in a nation who speaks a language that no one else understands, as an experiment 1 year, produce such films. Because someone in that fucking Politburo thought, well, let's see what it does. So they established the first studio in Yerevan, in Armenia, in my motherland, and it was my father. It was an accident. I was a kid. It just happened to me. I am sorry that I am so smart. It's not me. I was there just, and I got accidentally a lot of information. And plus, and can you imagine, at the same time, my mother works in the university, in the archives of the books and documents where no one can access, except KGB. You need to have. I hope this is KGB. No one called my door. I hope really they'll take me in and start to listen. We'll open and check. If not, I'll come back. Oh, it was worse than I thought. I would have, with pleasure, 5 intelligences here than this person who is going around here. Well, she's from the administration of the house and so on. I need to clean the balcons. They're changing something there, so I need to do it kind of a couple of hours, lot of job. If now police would take me, what would I do probably? I was, no, the balcony need to be clean here, the official administration of the state, with all its institutions down in 500 stages, and then we come to the lowest stage and the representative of house, and that's a high authority, you know, that's a very high authority, coming and telling that you have 24 hours, no matter where is your kid or what is happening, hunting you, criminals are around. clean the balcony, fuck it. Just listen, I have no time for this, and so I have no for them that. Tomorrow they will come and throw my stuff away with no asking what happened. Maybe I'm a sick person. Hello, social services come and clean my balcony. No way. Well, no, not always. If I would be a woman with blue eyes, they would find people for that. Even men. Well, and if, police took me, so no, I will not coming until it's not clean, then probably police officers would help me to clean the place, and then, please take me now. And, well, until the guys will do. It's so fun here around, guys. It's very fun. Public journalism. You see how we live in Sweden. Swedes very happy, and this is nothing about my fellow Swedes. No, you have no imagination how much I love my fellow Swedes and how much I just now fight for them. And they know. A lot of them know. They don't dare. That's their culture, and I respect it. Swedes have culture. Escape conflict. And that's a very sophisticated culture, very sophisticated. That's why this culture preserved. That's why this culture is so lovely and lives. But no one told to Swedes that this is not in the case when you have something to do with Putin's motherfuckers. This is not a conflict you need to escape, darling, unfortunately. This is a conflict which need to take and to fight and use all your resources, not only the ones you have, but everything else you can borrow, starting with myself. But that's very sophisticated. I hope Seppo. Hey, Seppo! If I would have a Seppo like that, I would run from this country. I think jag måste forska i utvandrarna. Det här fenomenet, de här analytikerna ljuger att de var hungriga och stack, och jag var alltid misstänksam. Hur folk i Sverige kan vara hungriga i en sån grad att de rymmer från landet i mängder. Vad har hänt med fisken i havet? Vad har våra skogar? Älgar? Jakt? Någonting stämmer. Ja, jag kan förstå att det var kanske inte välfärd. Men att folk dör av hungern i Sverige uteslutet. Jag lovar, kasta mig, svartskalle jävel. Någonstans i Norrland i en vild skog. Jag har ingen kunskap från berger. Jag kan ingenting om skog, men jag överlever där 300 år. Är det... Vad berättar det? Historikerna ljuger, jag lovar. Det måste forskas igen. Men vad jag tror, varför de stack härifrån. Men alltså, ni har förstått. Oj. I'm sorry, this was very confidential between Swedes, us, not for international community, and maybe very, very sophisticated specialists who, in case are interested, please translate or learn Swedish. I think this is our culture, you know, we share Swedes in between us. Well, we go now further, public journalism. I love this program. I love this guy. Now I look on my telephone, you can tell I am a narcissist. And I tell yes. Is it forbidden? No. Or it's criminal? Or it's... Listen, is that because I like what I do? Or my face, maybe? I like my face, yeah. I was always loved. I had no other signals from fellow humans to not love my face, because I was kissed, my face was kissed, my mother, my grandmother, the sisters of my grandmothers, the sisters of my mother, my sisters, my cousins, women. A man should not talk, but the fact is that this face was kissed. You have no imagination how much it was loved, and now what? How can that? How? Do you understand what feeling I have to my face? Guys, we are fucked up. Public journalism. You know why this is needed, and I have and I was a clown now in quite a long time, doing a public journalist. Well, talking about serious stuff and making fun, trying to make it funny, but it's maybe too long now. I will reconsider that. I'm starting new in this. And yeah, television. When my father created that thing, in one day, they sold shit. They made an advertisement for a shoe which a human being shall never wear. I mean, that's dangerous for feet, you know. And Soviet Union was producing those in quantity beyond imagination, but they were in the stores no one were buying. So my father have done the first advertisement for that shoe, and I was the guy who played the role, the first one. And I was not even a guy, I was a kid. It was 73 on a match, Ararat Yerevan football match, and Dynamo Kiev. And all those tries couldn't keep the advertisement. I mean, it was a real match. We came, I mean, I was there, 80,000 people around. You imagine. And the football match stops because coming in, Politburo tells, well, not something we need to experiment. Football match stops for 15 minutes because we need to do something, and then coming a couple of buttheads, journalists and so on, my father and myself among them, and now they need to do something. I have no idea. I have an ice cream and my heroes, my football, blah blah blah. And I am wearing the. Can you imagine a kid wearing the lovely football clothes, blah blah, and his stars around everybody, and not only those his stars, but also those stars from the most dangerous stars from Dynamo Kiev, which are there in your town, and your stars, fuck them. And you are doing a business there. Okay. And my father did that stuff, so the idea was that all those stars can hit, kick a goal, and this guy, 10 years old, do it in a very fashionable, nice way, because he wears the fucking shoe from the... I hated even that moment when it was on my foot, that they will take one single shot of it to show after I kicked it. But it was not me. It was Arkady Andresen who kicked. You should have seen. You should have seen what he have done. But they took away the part that Arkady Andresen is kicking. They only put the part when it goes in the goal, and then they put there the part where I'm in a position with that shoe, and that's why. Well, then we have an advertisement in a couple of minutes and so, and you know what happened? Next day, there was no one pair shoe in the stores. Can you imagine? Next day. One day, they saw it, they bought it. A thing that no thinking being ever will buy. So this is how works advertisement, and this is how I know TV stations, and this is how I know about journalists. I played more than 60 roles until I was 12. Not only advertisement, and also documentaries and short films. And have been around in all over the place with those guys who were taken immediately by Politburo, immediately, and they implemented the studio in Yerevan, and then they were going around in Soviet Union, in all capitals of all your republics where I was living, one after another, and my father, founder of the advertisement, TV advertisement of that country, former and your current, was my father. Just that. And I was not a friend with him, I will tell you. We fought until the last day he died, and he even couldn't dare to look in my eyes before he died. So, and I had no mercy for him. So think what I will do with you. Public journalism, why it is needed. Now we are coming to the final part. The show is over. Now is the lecture. We had a terror attack in Sweden, a terrible one. Our fellow lovely Swedes died in the middle of the Stockholm because an Uzbek guy, a Muslim, a fundamentalist, that's what we know officially, wanted in the name of Allah to kill Christians, and he was kind of interested quite long time in fundamental Islam and so on and so on, and that's the official version. That's what we know now in history, that's what we'll know, and that's why we will hate a bit Islam, of course. But my version of history and why I know this, because I know Uzbek, not Islam. At the first place, I know what is Uzbek. Uzbek is the most peaceful culture in the world. That's what I will tell you about an Uzbek. Uzbek is one of the most wisest cultures in the world, which in its entire history, within all conflicts, managed to communicate with the enemy and find free ends. That's a marvelous culture. You know nothing about it. It's a dictatorship. After Soviet Union, a harsh one. People had very, very heavy conditions, almost like the conditions Somalian pirates have. A bit better country, maybe because those guys are coming to Europe and America, do businesses, and they have slips and some kind of not educations but diplomas about their education. So kind of they are taught to behave, and so this is not Somalian leader and something like that. So the difference is only that one. And this guy was here and working like a donkey in years. I was doing my investigation, darlings. I was reading, analyzing, and thinking, why should an Uzbek do this? Why? I tell you why. He had a lot of kids there. Maybe it was wrong, unresponsible. Those cultures doesn't get last years very much information. We never know why a poor guy have 4 kids. That's not smart. I mean, kids should not be thrown, just be put up and thrown to the environment. I mean, it's how stupid we can. To drive a car, we need to have a license, but no license to have a kid. Absolutely unprepared parents. Well, this is a thought. Yeah. So the guy did something stupid, very stupid. People died, lovely people. Their families suffer. Don't hate, darlings. Don't spoil yourself, sweets, darlings. I am going to shake this country. This is the beginning, but you shall always know I love you. I love you, and I will never hurt this country. This is the most important message to you. In spite of I look like Bin Laden, and he was a nice guy, I'll tell you. In spite of everything, he was nice. Nice, big eyes like mine. Look here, Jesus' eyes, big, nice, beautiful. Do you know what beauty is? In all classical art that you will see, the beauty was me, not you, blonde. Never. I've seen sun. Idiots. Do you know what I witnessed as a veterinarian? They were sitting 10 and 12 girls, blonde. Girls, blonde, because Swedes are blonde, yeah, girls. And you know girls, yeah, they are beautiful in all over the place, in spite of colors, and in spite of blah, 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 blah. Girls always are beautiful. They do a hell from your life because they are beautiful, no matter what town, what country, and so on. It's the only explanation why they are so powerful, because they're beautiful. Guys, you are beautiful too. Well, that's another thing. We go forward. Public journalism, but this is not also, public debate. How you can come it? Feminist motherfuckers. Feminism were always about fascism. And fascism against men. You just wait. I'm starting masculinism. From this moment, public journalism. Look, what a wonder, guys. What a weapon in a citizen's hand. A peaceful weapon. And, terror attack. Could Akilov do a public journalistic job? No, he was not educated. He was deprived even the right to have an education. Instead of being violent, make a peaceful public journalistic report. You got the idea. Wanngård explained once me, it was 20 years ago, that you never need to be violent in a democracy. Never. That's what democracy is. Democracy is intelligence. Democracy is communication. Democracy is consideration. Democracy is rights. Equality of those rights. And now, public journalism. If a public journalist would come close to Akilov and would explain him that you don't need to get violent because you want to feed your kids in Uzbekistan and you can't find a way out. That this guy have no way out back to Uzbekistan. He already was desperate when he came out. No one. You think this is a tourism? No. No one leaves its own kids and go somewhere, work like a donkey, getting nothing for nothing. Guys, we all know this country develops especially in infrastructure when we have economic crisis, which means that these poor guys are coming and are cheap workers. So all this brilliancy of architecture that you see during centuries were built by immigrants, so you don't never dare to humiliate the immigrant. The immigrant built this country from the scratch, and it is the truth. It can be proven, and it is proven by great ancestors of ours in all generations, and still by public journalists, not established motherfuckers like you. This is why is needed. Public journalists, and go out, talk to Akilovs. There are many. They are not violent, they are not Muslims, they are just desperate, and Akilov was thinking as not very sophisticated guy when he was desperate. He was thinking, these motherfuckers are killing my kids. Maybe he was not meaning it directly, but he got the thought. He got the thought, and he have no money, and he is hunted. He is going to be thrown away to Uzbekistan. We don't know what is going to him. He doesn't know what is going to him. He becoming to an animal among us, human beings. You have no understanding for such things. Your institutions does not employ people like us who understand like this, because we can never be intelligent. It's a Swede bound to be intelligent, a Dan bound to be, even if it's an analphabet and a legitimated idiot, no matter. So this is why these countries are coming down in front of us, in front of you. I am a witness, an honest witness. I maybe have wrong. I maybe am crazy, but even a crazy can do a public journalistic report. You can deprive that right. And that's why is needed public journalism. My honor to the Wanngård One more time, I will never forget your lessons, dear. Never. And I appreciated your input in this country. You are a great man. I don't know if you will be appreciated as you should have been or will be sometime, but you know that there is a fellow citizen, sweet darling, who appreciated, who understood, and who loves you. Wanngård.